We're live. This is September 11th meeting of Jefferson Township Advisory Board, held at Jefferson Township office in Wayne County, Indiana, and Hagerstown, Wayne County, Indiana. Call the meeting to order.
Yeah, let's call this meeting to order. Do the pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Present at the meeting is myself, Township Trustee Chris Lane, Secretary Ann Smith, and Financial Advisor Gary Keeson. Absent is Max Soliday.
Are you going to, Max kind of just dropped out. You want to get a hold of him and ask him when this?
Yeah, I'm happy.
Yeah.
I emailed him. I think he was out of town last week. Did the last minute email schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how it works. I mean, technically, he's elected as well, so I can afford it.
Yeah, but as he may ask.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Well, and county elected officials, they
Yeah.
aren't, they're not told anything to the voters.
Yeah.
The auditor doesn't have to look at the office.
Yeah.
Or any other don't have to.
You guys should have a copy, or I apologize, I have a copy of the meeting minutes on here somewhere if you want to see it again. Okay. Here they are. I have a current qualification. I believe that's the last one, July 16th is zoning account. Should have been our last meeting minutes. Yeah, okay.
Well, no.
Take a motion to approve the minutes, previous meeting minutes.
I moved that we.
I'll second it. All in favor? Aye. Minutes have been approved.
So what I have is, in our last meeting, we had discussed a capital improvement plan that the DLGF had thrown out real quick, and I kind of heard they put one together, not really knowing yet, because we're still waiting on, what I say, structure from the DLGF. But we went and did one, and that was my mistake. I thought we were on a type of time crunch. And in that, we had said that we may come back and modify or even change that. Sorry, we'll turn the thought here. CIP plan, once we had a little more structure. In that previous resolution was 25-8, which was our capital improvement plan. Well, since then, once we got our final instructions and all the lovely paperwork from the DLGF, on advice from, I talked to several other trustees, and we had hired an accounting firm to put this together for us and work with us on it. And because they had put together the projections for the next 3 to 5 years, based on the current tax base, based on new laws. To be frank, I'm not an accountant, and this takes an accountant to do. So we went that direction. And I should have emailed this out to you, but I was past. Oh, you got it. Yeah. I apologize. I meant to email that today. The front page basically gives out of the unprotected funds what our plans are over the next 3 to 5 years to do with those funds. And so designating those funds and potential funds coming in, these are plans. It's not necessarily saying it's going to come to fruition. It's just hopes that we can make this happen someday. And it may include going for bond banks, or grants, and there's all kinds of ways to make things happen on top. If you want to do that, if you have any questions.
What land do you look at?
Well, we don't, the only thing I know of off the top of my head, it would be near the Methodist Church. There's 2 parcels of land that's empty, which would be awesome. But we would have to have a variance because it's outside of the 2-block range that you have a business in town. So it's merely, putting it out there that we like to purchase the land. To change what we do, sell this and put that back into purchasing some land. It's just like a warehouse with an office and a bathroom for what we're doing.
Yeah.
We've said it, I've said it over and over and over with all the different things that we're doing here, we're able to keep our actual intake low for people needing assistance because we're helping so many other managers that doesn't take taxpayer dollars. So in theory, if I just have a small office, you know, and the rest of it needs to be dry and cold storage, you know. In the grand scheme, you know, hoping whether it can ever happen or not, it's very, so what that goes through is it shows that in on the back, like our capital improvement plan is 565 or 565,000. Our estimated cash balances is on 93,000, so that technically puts in the whole 471,000. So what it boils down to, that doesn't leave us any money to transfer over to the new state road infrastructure fund. Because we're trying to keep it within our township functions, and what the money was designed to do was to help the quality, not road infrastructure. Yeah. And I'm quite sure the state will modify all that in the coming years, so they'll keep changing that. As they try to push townships out, that'll continue to change.
They're gonna try to get township to consolidate schools.
No, absolutely. And that's not necessarily a bad idea, but you just take a lot of people on board. So with that, I need to kind of jump back. I've got two resolutions to present. One is 25-9. And that is a resolution to establish the town roads and infrastructure fund. Even though it doesn't take effect in 2027, because I actually made it put it in my line item on Gateway, and then when I went to my budget review last week, the DOJ said, oh, you don't need to put that in now, you don't need that until 27. I'm going to do this now. But that's that consistent sheet of information. But that's part of it, we have to create a road infrastructure fund, my board resolution. That way, if there is money in the future to transfer, we have a fund to transfer to. And then we'll have a second resolution after that, for the adoption of the capital improvement plan. So you just tell them, you guys can look over that.
Did an accountant do this?
The accounting firm did it, and they did a bunch of townships because everybody was sinking in. Several of us spoke privately in the township, that trustee. And they were like, I had one call me the other day from a small township where near him, and he had no idea. Apparently, he was hiding on the rock for the last 6 months and didn't know how to use this. And this is last week.
Oh.
And he was like, oh, it sounds like there's a bunch of changes. I was like, yeah. And he said, well, I don't know what to do with this because I don't have any money. I don't have this. I don't have that. And I was like, so that's what we're saying. Let's do how. You better get on. Yeah. But, you know, and I think that was, to be frank, and I probably should say this, but I think that's the whole state's idea is, because I was at a big training session, probably 300, 400 people there, and most of them were very, very elderly trustees. And they were lost, we were on this, you know, and they're small, they probably didn't have it in the budget to even hire a county person to do this for them. You know, but I did, I had enough put back in our legal services and budget, or county stuff, it was good. Because I would have been the same way, I mean, I would not have that filled out properly. I do have all the projections if you wanted it for this. You know, it projects out between the prior legislation, what we would have had versus what we will have. And I think you might have gotten it, honestly. It gives a projection of all the cash balances and where we should land by 2029. You know, they went way out, and that's just the advertisement to the paper for this meeting.
So, should I say at this point, there is not funds in this?
Well, right now we had to create this fund.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that. We just have to create the fund by state statute says that we have to create a road infrastructure fund. So if you guys want to deal with the adoption of that resolution.
The first one is the capital improvement plan resolution, 25.
Well, actually, this is road infrastructure fund. We either way.
Okay, that's on the agenda,
I
yeah.
realized that we already had that eight last meeting, so
Oh.
I had to go with 9 and 10.
Okay.
I forgot to change that mind.
So what we did, so then we have
You're in the dash 9.
Dash 9.
Which is the road and infrastructure fund itself. So it's just creating that fund.
Okay. Then I'll move that we create the road infrastructure fund 25-9. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Sorry about the kid, but I caught that this morning.
Motion passed.
You guys don't need to sign. Your yes side there. And the second one, which technically would, I would say this will be replacing or a modification from 25-8 that we did back in July. This resolution is 2025-10. It is pursuant to IC code 36-6-9-6, it's all on your round, for adoption of the capital improvement plan, which is what that is. It has, if you guys are on board with the plan, the direction we're trying to go with that, and hopefully try to save our taxpayer money in our township.
What's that little? What is that?
It's always a legal thing that pops up for walls. I don't know where it is, yeah.
So if somebody with a small township doesn't create a capital improvement,
They don't get their tax levy next year. So if I understand it, that would mean basically their, general fund, the so-and-so won't fund it. So they'll have to work off their cash balances if they have any.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're broke, and
it'll be gone.
I think that's what they want. I really think that's what they're assuming, is they're gonna have out 1,000 townships that, maybe 300 or 400 of them don't do that, and then they're gonna say, oh, sorry, you're broke, you're gonna have to combine with your neighbor now, and start forcing them, but they can't do that in an election year, and next year was technically election year, so it's all jacked up. And I think that's why they're forcing, they're saying 2027 when this is gonna take effect, because that was the new income trustee or whoever, or whatever. Yeah, cool. And my guess is they're be a minimum next year. As soon as they start seeing this and they see that the county firms got involved and helped us design this, then they're gonna get their accountants involved and say, well, we need to change this law and say you can't do this. So basically, the lawyers and accountants are gonna make more money. They're all going down.
So now we got this other one?
Yeah.
I'm gonna do, take the resolution, for the capital improvement plan.
I'll second it. All those in favor? Aye. Motion passes.
Yeah, that's something we've got to look at. I mentioned, I think, my first year here, and then we talked with some other trustees, and today we need to think about it, because it's coming up, and people are getting because of tax base changes, and I don't think it's a huge change. But I'm not accountant to know on the changes, but once we combine with other townships, and, change everybody's. And that's what I think they want us to go to one county, be in charge. And it's not necessarily a horrible thing, but then you need you're gonna really need a liaison in these small towns.
Well, it's kind of doesn't want.
No, I don't know if you go to say, hey, you have one county trustee, then you have, 4 deputy trustees, one in Hagerstown, one in Centerville, Fountain City, and they handle their outlying areas. That's probably the simplest, that way there's still somebody to hunt for resources. The global, yeah, but that would make sense, so why would I not do that? That's all I have today, since we have a meeting next Wednesday, we get to next Wednesday, because we've got our budget meeting next Wednesday. I really apologize, I tried to get this all on today's, and I missed it by one day. because we had to have a 10-day window of advertising the budget hearing, and I missed it by 1 day. So, and I didn't realize that I was off a day, because I was trying to save it when I come back. So, we'll do that. I will give you, that way you can. This is the proposed budget that I submitted to ZLGF if you want that for yourself. I was gonna email it, I'll just get you today. You can do whatever. With this format's a little better, I figured out a way to change the format to read it differently. It's better on, but we'll deal with that next week, so if you want to close your meeting, I don't have anything else.
Okay. That's all we have.
We're gonna meet again on next Wednesday at 9 AM as well for initial budget hearing.
Okay, I'll move we adjourn. All in favor? Aye.
Right.
Meeting adjourned.
Thanks for viewing.
That's good.
Okey dokey.